Something cosmic is cloaked. This is your look at the new Hiya Toys Exquisite Mini Predator Jungle Hunter Invisible version. Exquisite Mini is a new standard setting series for 1/18th scale featuring super articulation action figures from Hiya Toys. Before we get a closer look at the Hiya Toys Exquisite Mini Jungle Hunter Invisible version, the first thing we're going to want to do is figure out how tall the figure stands. I'd like to thank the folks over at Hiya Toys for making this review possible by sending the Invisible Jungle Hunter my way. The figure stands 4.6 inches in height, and switching that then to centimeters, you're looking at the Invisible Predator Exquisite Mini being 11.9 or almost 12 centimeters in height. In case you're curious, we can move over the Invisible Jungle Hunter, who has some difficulty, like his full-colored counterpart, has some difficulty standing, but here he is next to his regular colored version, the unhelmeted, battle-damaged Hiya Toys Exquisite Mini Predator. Boy, that's a bit of a mouthful. They are exactly the exact same figure, just short of the fact that they've sucked the color off of this guy to give us the clear variant. Everything else, the way that they're constructed, the way that they're built, and all of the accessories are exactly the same to one another. Those accessories are, he comes with a muddy terrain display stand. Yes, the same display stand that we've gotten with all the other Exquisite Mini Predator releases. The stand, as you can see, has one singular peg at the bottom. You know, it's deja vu to be going through these again. And you have also these slots located on the back that you can then take the stands and take these little eye brackets. You can connect the two. And let's just say we want to go ahead and grab, I'm just going to remove the regular battle damaged Predator. Let's take the display stand that came included with that figure. I'll show you how that T brackets work. They're more, I guess, eye brackets. They fit in between the grooves, and as you can see, just like that, you get yourself an expanded landscape in which you can, of course, display the figures on. Now, it doesn't just start and stop there. I mean, you can instantly add more of these. The more stands, the better. I mean, I have probably, trying to think of how many Predators I actually have of Hiya Toys now. It's got to be at least a dozen. I can just continue to expand on these display stands until I have a very large diorama display that I can put all my Predators on top of. The Predator also shares the exact same severed skull complete with spinal cord. Let me put the two side by side so you guys can see the difference between the two. It's always interesting when you get accessories or figures that are the exact same as something you already have in your collection, but doing it differently in color, or in this case, the absence of color, boy, do you get a very drastically different looking accessory. This kind of looks like something from Indiana Jones, but you can see that they are identical to one another, short of the fact that the work on this one was spent a little longer because they added all the additional paint and stuff to it that this one doesn't have. Now, of course, you can fit this into his hand. He comes with a couple of swappable hands. Definitely things that you would be careful not to lose, because they are clear. They'll literally blend in with any environment that they fall on. You have this fall on a carpet, good luck trying to find these. But the idea is you can just go ahead and take the hand, wiggle off the hand from the peg, and go ahead and replace it with the hand that you want to use. I seem to have done this on the other one as well on this side. But you just wiggle the hand back onto the peg. And once that's in place, sometimes these are a little difficult to get in place. Once that's in place, then you can go ahead and take the crystal skull, even though it's not really what it is, and just fit it in between his grip. Again, it's very difficult when you're looking at something clear, because it's clear on clear on clear on clear. Maybe it might be easier just to put it in his hand first and then attach it. Like I said, it's extremely difficult. Normally, I don't have so many of an issue, but in the case of that, there we go. There we go. You can see that he does hold the crystal skull. I'll stop calling it the crystal skull. You can see that he holds it quite easily in place, at least in his one hand here. Let's get a closer look now at the invisible looking predator. From what little I'm sure you can actually see of him, we'll slide him over to the side and we'll bring in the battle damaged predator that we just recently had a look at. From head to toe, minus of course the colors, they are exactly the same mold to one another. There's nothing that's changed at all. Your question I'm sure you're going to be asking is, what is the joints going to be on the figure? Well, we'll talk about that in a second. But overall, I mean, again, it's just one figure with minus, of course, the color here on the other. And it works quite well, I have to say. Oh, certainly, I would love to see them expand the idea of going just not only clear, but maybe giving him the electricity that he had in the movie, or slightly having him, blending into his environment. I think that would be fun as well. But for the time being, we get a translucent, clear plastic. It's not completely clear. The clearest areas are like his accessories, like his plasma caster shoulder-mounted cannon. The dreads, for example, on his hair are all a very rubbery plastic, but clear, though. The places that are more the smokier variety is when you get to his torso, his arms, his legs, for example. Just the type of plastic, I suppose, that they're using. But answer to your question, though, what they're using for the joints is a more solid plastic. It's not the clear plastic. Let me just see if I can tilt this so you guys can see. It's actually closer to being more like a white plastic. So I think if the concerns are there about clear plastic and clear joints specifically breaking, I don't feel like that's going to be the issue necessarily with the Predator. You'll still want to tread caution when it comes to moving his joints, for example. But I don't think I'm going to have as many of an issue as I thought I would have, just because they're using more solid plastic for those joints. He still has, yes, one big problem. Well, it's not a big problem. It's a problem that certainly will be in the way a lot of times when I'm doing this review. He comes with a sash, the spinal cord sash. Is that what we called it? The spinal cord sash. You can see it fits around his shoulder, and it just barely fits around his shoulder. In fact, because they used clear plastic, this one is a little bit more stretchier than the other. And I feel it's even more problematic when it comes to staying on his torso. A lot of times, just as I'm moving the figure, you'll see, yeah, the sash keeps sliding down. But what you can see, hopefully, of it is still a nice, decently detailed looking Predator. It is really hard to kind of pinpoint some of those details on it, simply just because there's no color separating one part of the mold to the other. But hopefully you can see that there's the mandible teeth, there's the eyes, and the crest crown on top of his head. And again, it's all a nicely sculpted figure. Does change a little bit of the color scheme, like we were already talking about. The clear is more like his head. The clear is more like his plasma caster. But then goes for the rest of his body almost has a almost slight yellowish tint to it as I spin the figure around. Again, it's probably just the type of plastic that they use for certain parts of his body, while areas, again, like his cannon and his head are probably using a different type of plastic that can be afforded a little bit more clear. Moving a little bit further down the figure, again, all the things are still the same. You get a chance to see straight through the Predator as I wave my hand behind it. Again, a lot of detail, some of which you're probably not going to be able to see completely. On others, like, for example, the detail done on his leg, for example, it kind of looks like a see-through pineapple. We work a little bit further down. We got the knees, of course, and the guards done in his legs. No blood on this one at all, simply just because, again, like, this is the clear, invisible version, not the battle damage that we looked at before. Running through the posability, and because this is the same figure as the last, the articulation would be exactly the same. The head hinges up and down and rocks back and forth because it does have a ball joint. A little harder to kind of see, again, all in there. The cannon itself also does have some articulation, so you can rotate this back and forth. It doesn't look like necessarily it's got a peg joint. It looks like it's all molded in place, so it's more so just swiveling it back and forth this way. Shoulders hinge out. You can get them at about a 45-degree angle bend. I was quick to say 90 degrees, but obviously it's only at 45-degree angle bend, simply, again, just due to the limitations of the sculpting on the shoulder there. The arms can still very comfortably move forward and back, no problems there whatsoever. He does have a swivel on the bicep, a single hinged elbow, and you can also rotate the hand all the way around. Upper torso is on a ball joint. Yes, the sash continues to make its way down his arm, but it has an upper torso ball joint, legs split out. There's the ball joint working there. Again, it's kind of more like a creamy beige colored plastic that they've used for those joints, enough that it blends into the rest of the clear plastic for his body. Legs go forward and back. You can swivel at the top, cut at the thigh. double hinge on the knee, and like the other, he does have just a straight peg. You kind of get a better idea of how the peg system works. It's literally just pegged in place. It doesn't add for much in the way of an ankle rocker. You're literally just being able to rotate the foot all the way around. Because of that, there will be some slight difficulty when it comes to getting this guy to stand, but like with all the other cases of Predator Exquisite Minis, you can definitely make use of a display stand and you can get the figure in place. Now, I did notice, though, on the back of his leg, I had it also on the other Predator as well, but there's just this sharp spike of plastic. You only really notice it when it comes time to actually attaching him on the display stand. But once you got him on the display stand, you got yourself a nice looking Predator. Minus, of course, the colors that we saw before, but still all the nice details that Hiya Toys put in their original. Predator figures and clear plastic certainly go hand in hand. While Hiya Toys wasn't the first company to come up with the idea of making a Predator figure clear, they could be awarded the points certainly for the smallest clear Predator around. While this is just essentially a re-release of the Jungle Hunter that we already looked at before, just recently actually on this channel, all the colors being extracted from this guy definitely gives you then that look that he had in the movie when he's cloaking and hunting all the soldiers. I do like the fact that he does have the clear plastic. Again, if you are worrisome about the idea of using clear plastic on the joints, hopefully this review has shown you guys that the plastic that they used on all the joints, like the elbows, the knees, for example, are all more of a solid, more opaque plastic, not the clear stuff that would be prone to breaking if you have this figure in your collection. All the stuff that should be clear is clear. All the stuff that should be opaque plastic is opaque plastic. And the end result is a decent looking Predator. Like I said, we've already gotten before. All the accessories are the same. The swappable hands and, of course, the pulled skull and spinal cord all look the same. And, of course, because this is the re-release of the Jungle Hunter that we already looked at before, he has the same problem with that sash. Yes, the sash of spinal cord still continues to drop down his shoulders. I might even just take it off of this one. I'm not really sure whether I'll keep it on or not. It's clear plastic after all. Maybe I might just consider the idea of taking it off, so I'm just not going to have the issue of having to adjust it every single time. But that's a small problem with an otherwise pretty good looking figure. I really like the way that Jungle Hunter Invisible turned out. A big thank you again to the folks over at Hiya Toys that provide the sample of the Jungle Hunter Invisible version Exquisite Mini. Let me know down below in the comments section what you guys think of it. And the question of today's video is, what's your favorite Predator movie? Let me know down below in the comments section. Also, if you're new to this channel and liking all the content you're seeing, consider the idea of hitting the subscribe button down below, turning and moving your way on over to the bell notification, and keep those peepers ever peeled Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because there's new videos coming your way, as well as some new Exquisite Mini reviews lined up, stocked up, and ready to go. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.